Okay, so Bitcoin. It's been, how do I put this? A little quiet lately, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's been stuck in a rut for a while.
Yeah, over 200 days, actually.
Yeah.
And analysts call this consolidation. Basically, it means the price is just kind of bouncing around in a range. Kind of like, that moment of quiet right before something big happens.
Yeah, it really does feel like a coiled spring, right? Like it's building up this potential energy. You know something's got to give, but the question is which way is it going to break?
Right, exactly. And any Bitcoin enthusiast, they know these quiet periods, they can often end with, well, pretty big moves,
Yeah,
either up or down.
absolutely. And that's what makes this whole period so fascinating, right? Trying to anticipate what is going to trigger that next big move. Almost like we're financial detectives searching for clues.
Love that. Love that. So, like, what kind of clues are analysts looking at right now? Give us the inside scoop.
Well, one indicator that's, really caught their eye is this thing called the Stochastic RSI.
Okay, now, before you lose us with the technical jargon, break that down. What is that?
Yeah, no, you're right. Imagine like a speedometer, but for Bitcoin's momentum. So when that needle, surges past 80, it's kind of a sign that Bitcoin might be getting a little overheated, due for a cool down. On the flip side, if it drops below 20, it could be a signal that Bitcoin is oversold and potentially, ready for a rebound.
Okay, so it's like taking the temperature of the market.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's the temperature telling us right now?
Well, right now it's actually just ticked upwards,
Uh-huh.
crossing above that 20 mark. And, on its own, this could be seen as, a hopeful sign, like a bullish signal, right?
So a little glimmer of hope for those hoping for a breakout.
Potentially. And there's always a but. Isn't there this indicator? It has a history, especially back in 2018, if you remember.
2018, yeah. I think a lot of Bitcoin traders, they probably have some, let's just say, interesting memories from 2018.
Right, exactly.
Not all good ones.
Yeah.
We'll circle back to that.
Yeah, we'll definitely unpack that a little bit later. But yeah, there are some interesting parallels to what happened then and what we're seeing now.
Okay.
But I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Let's look at another clue that a lot of analysts are kind of laser focused on right now, and that is the 21 simple moving average, or as the cool kids call it, the 21 SMA.
21 SMA. All right, so break that down for us. What is that?
So picture this. Think of it like a trend line, like a support level that Bitcoin really does not want to dip below.
Okay.
And right now, Bitcoin, it's holding strong above that line, which is a good sign for, the bulls out there, the ones betting on an upward price move. But, the question is, can it maintain that position,
Right, so it's almost like Bitcoin is walking this tightrope right now.
Yes.
And everyone's kind of holding their breath to see which way it's going to swing.
I like that visual. And to add even more drama to this whole thing, we have the RSI. That's another key indicator. And it's kind of adding its own little plot twist here.
Okay, so we've got the stochastic RSI, we've got the 21 SMA, now I've got the RSI. All right, tell us about this new player. What's it telling us?
So the RSI, it's kind of like, it's like that friend that always gives you mixed signals.
Yeah.
So it just broke out of a long-term trend line, which usually that's a good thing. That's a bullish signal. Suggests buying pressure is building up.
Oh, so
But
there's always a but, right?
of course, this is Bitcoin we're talking about. Always a but. The but here is that despite this breakout, the RSI is also pointing downwards, which kind of hints at a potential slowdown in momentum. It's like it's saying, hey, things could be looking up, but don't get too excited just yet.
So mixed signals all around. Bitcoin, it really likes to keep us on our toes, doesn't it?
It really does. Yeah, it's like it likes to keep us guessing. But amidst all these mixed signals, there's there's one crucial level that's really got everybody's attention, and it's that $44 4K mark.
Okay, $44 4K, what's so special about that number?
Well, you see, over the past 2 years, that price point has acted as this major support level. Imagine like a line in the sand. Like Bitcoin just repeatedly bounces back from it.
Okay.
And so right now, Bitcoin, it's battling to stay above that line. And if it can hold that level, it could be a very, very bullish signal,
That's
potentially opening the door for, a much more significant upward move.
Okay, so staying above $44 in 4K, that's good news. But what happens if it falls? If that line in the sand gets crossed?
Right. So that is really the million-dollar question, right? Because if we see it break below $44 4K, it could signal that, that the bears are kind of, they're taking control and we might be in for, a bit of a longer road to recovery. It could mean, delaying a sustained upward move by, potentially months.
So that $44 in 4K, that's the level to watch. That's the make or break point for Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, you got it. That's the one to watch. And, this is where things get, really interesting because this whole setup that we're looking at, right? The indicators, the price action, that $44 to 4K level, it's giving a lot of people some serious deja vu. It reminds them a lot of
Oh,
2018.
2018, the year of the great Bitcoin fake out, right?
Yeah, you could say that, yeah. That's one way to put it. Yeah, because back then we saw a very similar pattern play out. The stochastic RSI, just like it is now, flashed that buy signal. And for a while there, it seemed like, Bitcoin was off to the races,
Yeah.
ready for this, big breakout. A lot of traders, they jumped in. They were so eager to ride that wave. But then,
That wave crashed.
yeah, Bitcoin, it kind of keys that breakout. And then it took this sharp U-turn. And it led to, a pretty prolonged downturn. And I think for a lot of people, it was a real wake-up call. A reminder that, Bitcoin, it can be full of surprises.
It can be a cruel mistress sometimes.
Yeah, you got it. Even when things seem like they're lining up perfectly, it can still throw you for a loop.
So what's the lesson here? What can we learn from 2018? What's the takeaway for someone listening to us talk right now, watching Bitcoin, trying to make sense of all this?
Well, I think the big takeaway from 2018, if there's one thing you should remember, it's don't get lost in the hype. It's so easy to get caught up, to see a few green candles and start thinking, this is it. This is the moonshot.
Yeah, everyone wants to be a Bitcoin millionaire, right?
Right, exactly. But, what often separates the seasoned traders from, those who maybe don't fare so well is really that ability to kind of, keep a level head, to manage your emotions, to not let, greed or fear cloud your judgment.
So you're saying it's just as much about managing your emotions as it is about reading the charts.
100%. Yeah. Because, as we saw in 2018, trying to time the market perfectly, trying to catch that exact bottom or top, it's a fool's game, really.
Yeah, it's almost like you got to be a therapist for your own inner Bitcoin trader.
There you go. Yeah. Got to manage that inner voice.
That's it. That's it. So, okay, we've covered a lot. We've got the indicators. We talked about that critical $44 and 4K level, and of course those echoes of 2018 kind of looming over everything. What's the bottom line here for someone listening to us, someone who's they're watching Bitcoin, they're trying to figure out is this a good time to buy? Is this a good time to sell? They're feeling that FOMO maybe,
Yeah.
but they're also a little gun shy, after everything that's happened.
Well, look, I think it's fair to say Bitcoin's at a crossroads right now.
Yeah.
And nobody, and I mean nobody, knows for sure which way it's going to go. You've got these factors all kind of pushing and pulling in different directions. Some things look really promising. You've got those indicators that we talked about. But then you've got these whispers of caution, these shadows from the past reminding us that, Bitcoin can be unpredictable.
Yep.
But honestly, isn't that part of the appeal, the uncertainty?
Keep things interesting, that's for sure.
Right. I mean, imagine if it was predictable. It'd be boring. So instead of trying to, fight the uncertainty, I say embrace it. Use this time to really educate yourself, dig deeper into how these market cycles work, and most importantly, really think about your own personal risk tolerance. How much are you willing to put on the line?
So not just blindly following the herd, but really taking the time to figure out what's right for you, your own personal circumstances, your own risk appetite.
Exactly. Because ultimately, the best decisions, especially when it comes to something as volatile as Bitcoin, they're made with a cool head and a clear understanding of all the factors involved.
Words to live by. Well, listen, you have given our listeners a lot to think about today, a lot to digest,
It's been my pleasure, really. It's been great chatting with you about all this.
and a lot to maybe lose some sleep over tonight. But no, this has been fantastic. Just a really, really insightful deep dive into what's going on in the world of Bitcoin. And, as always, this isn't financial advice, just good old-fashioned conversation.
Just two friends talking Bitcoin.
That's it. That's it. That's it. But with that being said, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks to everyone for joining us on this deep dive. And until next time, happy trading.